All right, it is time for our Mindset Matters. And yes, the boss is here, Robin Dayne from Broadway to Wall Street. She spent 8 years being trained and mastered her neuro-linguistic skills with Anthony Robbins. She's worked with the top traders at Tudor Investments, as long as other places. She has worked with thousands of traders. We're always blessed to have her with us. And she is an active trader herself. Robin, it's great to have you here. How you feeling today? How are things going?
It's a great day. I'm so excited about today because I think this is a good format. I'm going to do a case study today on, I have thousands and thousands of coaching files. So I figured let's do the case studies because they are relevant to what everybody needs and it's very exciting. But I wanted to make an announcement. All of my questionnaires are finished that I've received. If you did not receive a reply, please email me and I'll have to look it up. So for some reason, Yahoo attached emails in the wrong place, and I had to really search, but all of them should be out. So if you filled out a questionnaire from the website, you should have gotten a reply by now. Email me if you didn't, and I appreciate that. And the people that I did email, the late ones, I gave you a little bit of an extra bonus if you want to do coaching, and there are quite a few in there that should really consider it. So, and that's only good through Friday. Okay, so I want to
And
get into it.
remember, folks. I mean, Robin goes through those one by one personally. That's a lot of work that Robin is doing for you. So make sure if you sent one in, make sure you get it. Of course. Okay, Robin. Case studies. You've got thousands of them. I can't wait to hear them. But folks, if you do have questions, go ahead and put them in the chat. We're going to collect
Please.
those, and I'm sure that some of these case studies are going to kind of speak to each of us in our own way, but a lot in the same way, as we're all human beings. And I'm really looking forward to hearing this. Again, questions, put them in the chat. We'll collect them. About the last half of this session, we'll go through those questions. I know Robin likes the quick questions. And she's got a little something at the end for everybody as well. So make sure you stick around. Robin, the floor is yours.
Okay, so a quick on the questionnaires. So questionnaires can come in now. We held them up for a while, but you can do the questionnaires from the website. Okay, so David is a 32-year-old male from Texas. He's married, one child, and his wife is pregnant. He was in the construction business. He's been trading for 5 years, and he manages to trade about 2 hours a day, 5 days a week. And so when I got him, the challenges that we had, well, he's a part-time trader. He trades 5 markets. His biggest issue was the fear of missing out, which a lot of you have. He was over trading and he wasn't journaling. His averages were averaging, he could only get up $150 a week the most, and he was more down $522 a week. His biggest trading loss was $4,500. He has 6 items in his criteria, but he has 2 strategies. And I always mention you have to have your plan, your strategy, your criteria, and your stops. He was getting scared and he was exiting too soon and he was exiting at the sign of any kind of profit. So that's what he was dealing with. So I'm going to actually read from his exact words of what he went through. Now, this is, my clients are very personal to me. This was from 2021. I'm not going into his personal stuff, although I told you about his personal stuff, but it's what everybody's going through. It's not something that's isolated to him. And so I just want to read you. So I asked him for his top 3 trading challenges. I usually do that in my coaching sessions. First one is lack of patience and discipline. So I have them describe it to me. I don't usually have them type it because when you talk to me, you talk from your subconscious memory. And when you put it in the written word, you have time to think about it. And I don't want that. I read you better when you tell me. But he wrote to me, so I had this really nice description. I thought you could relate to it. After I read the first one, we'll stop and ask some questions. I do have at the end what he did and how he changed and how good it was for him. Okay, I started trading sessions off fresh with discipline and patience. I feel like, and as I stay patient, the market moves, and I start feeling like the patience is just what I'm describing, a bit of hesitation or apprehension. A setup may or may not happen, but either way, the market is moving, and I feel like I should be doing something. I can't make money from the sidelines. So my patience turns into impulse, and I force a trade without a real setup. Sometimes I imagine a big move. Imagine a big move is about to happen, and it actually normally does eventually. So I jump into the position early so I don't miss out. I often end up stopped out, and the market moves as I expected. But I got in early, and just because some of my gunpowder that launched the move. So he had some things happening. On I occasionally miss a good setup because I just want a little bit more confirmation than the impulse enter into a poor setup. That happens out of regret that I just missed out on a good one, not wanting to miss out on another one, and though it's a bad setup or no setup, I trade to the start of it. I have a hard time holding a trade to take the profit and often pull the trigger down at the first sign of a pullback or tighten up my stop way to the close, both sides reducing profit potential of my trade, often to the detriment of my P&L. Fear of losing money, giving back profits. Also, I find flat out fear of being wrong and the feeling of a loser because my trade was a loser. So that's the first one. It's pretty descriptive. But what he's doing is he's describing his mindset during the trade. And we sit there alone as traders. We may be in the trading room, but we're sitting there as traders in the room, and we have a flood of thoughts going through. So the thoughts are really critical. Does anybody have any questions on the first one? Lack of discipline and patience. I'm going to go right
I
into the
do.
second one. Okay.
One of the first things you said was he was having a difficult time seemingly discerning whether he's hesitating in getting into trades or if he's actually being patient. I would imagine there's a bit of a thin line when it comes to that. And feeling like if he doesn't have anything on, that he's not working hard enough. Okay. That's
Yes.
one of the things that I've told traders, if you don't take a trade the whole day, you can't feel like you wasted that day. If you didn't see a setup, if the market wasn't aligned with what your setups were telling you, you're better off doing nothing. You don't have to feel like you have to trade to be a trader is really just my thought on that. But where is that line between being patient and being hesitant to get into trades?
Well, that's why you need to know yourself. Great traders know who they are. So when he feels it, you can feel it in your body. Your mind and body are connected, and you can feel it in your body. And it's a great observation when you have that thin line. So what he described in his resources to fix is interesting because he deals with all those little imperfections along the way. Great traders know when not to trade. When not to trade. So if you don't see a setup, it's okay. Keep yourself busy. And again, I'll go through some of the things that he did. I'm going to go through the second one. I'm not going to go through the third one because I think we'll have questions on this. Okay, one trade affecting another becomes a slippery slope and the snowball effect. In my first trade of the day was a good setup, but still a loser. It makes me feel like a loser, and it gives me a lot of self-doubt for some reason. If my first trade of the day is a bad setup and still a loser, I feel even more like a loser and like I have no self-control or direction in my trading. If the first trade trades are winners, I get overconfident pretty quickly and sometimes jump into losing trades immediately after a winner, thinking that I'm the guru. Every trade affects the next trade for me emotionally. I have a tough time separating them emotionally from each other. I have no current tactic that acts as a reset button for my emotions. My P&L performance affects my whole rest of my day also, a losing day. I'm less inclined often to continue working on trading related topics and just to shy away from my computer. So he just avoids it. On positive days, I'll watch the charts long, more talkative with the trading group than usual. I don't know how my trading P&L affects me so much. Okay, so in that instance where he says it's a slippery slope, a lot of traders that I know in the room are having one loss after another, and I always tell them to make sure you really work on the first trade of the day and make your first trade a positive trade. So let me give you some of the things that he did. This is really interesting. So, do you have any questions now on that one?
Well, there were a couple of kind of keywords that kind of struck me, and is he's getting out of a losing trade and getting back into it, thinking he's a guru. Having a losing trade has never made me feel like a guru. It's always
No,
put
he
me on
said that
guard.
after winning
Oh,
trades.
after
That's what he
winning
felt
trades.
like. Yeah.
Okay, well that makes sense to me. But every time I've believed that I'm God's gift to trading, or that I say to myself, I get it now. I can do this. I'm going to be, I'm great at this, whatever it is. There's usually danger at my door, because I'm going to put my left down. I'm going to put my guard down.
Yeah.
I'm going to stop doing the work. I'm going to stop focusing on what I need to focus on to find good trades, and I'm just going to think that the market's going to just continue to pay me no matter what, and that's a very dangerous thing. So tell us, Robin, what did he do?
Okay. So he did a couple things. A couple things jumped out at me when I was coaching him. First, I had him remove the P&L because he was focusing on the P&L. If you're focusing on the money and not the quality of your trade, then you're going to make mistakes. The P&L can emotionally affect you because everybody has that connection to money, and money is different for every person. And especially a big loss, you don't want to start the day with a big loss. You want to have small wins and build on that. He said, and these are some of the things that we did in the coaching. He said, I started saying to myself, what's the market telling me? So when you're in a trade and you're managing the trade, what's the market telling me? That keeps your mind busy. And we've talked about that once before, or many times before. Questions in the moment stop your mind from getting pulled in. So instead of getting hooked and pulled in by Mr. Market, ask a question to keep your mind busy. So what's the market telling me? And he said that what that did is it helped me stay mindful in the moment. Then he said, I was a bit tense. So I stepped away and I did 10 push-ups. He stepped away and did 10 push-ups and broke the pattern. When you physically break the pattern of your trading, and you can feel yourself getting hooked. Get up, walk to the kitchen, get something to eat, do something. But he stepped away, did 10 push-ups, came back, and it just reset his mind. He did
Just
the trading
recentered.
game. Yep, he recentered. He started in sim first, and his rule was he had to do 2 winning trades, and that would earn him the right to go live. And he went from trading full contracts to doing 5 micros. He was trading 5 markets in the beginning. I had him scale it down to 1. Every market has a different personality. You have a personality as a trader. Every market's speed determines if you can manage that trade. So test the different markets if you're trading many, but focus on one so you can learn the personality. If you trade one market and it fits your personality, it's a good thing. If you're overstressed with the market you've chose, maybe it's too fast, try a different one. And each market just has different little tiny tidbits. ES has shorter bars. but it's faster. NASDAQ has more bars, but the bars tend to be longer and the moves can be longer. So you have to find the one that's fits your personality. And I find a lot of traders haven't done that. He set his targets to hit them, and when he hit the target of 100, he had $100 to start with because he was losing $500, and that might have been in the day. I might have had that wrong. 500 in the day. So I had to get him back to winning. So when he made his first $100 goal, he would switch to sim and he would lock in the profits. You want to lock in the profits. Small wins. You'll feel better tomorrow if you lock in profits today than you will giving back the money. So you have to have small wins. And he walked away when he got, again, stressed. When he got to his level, he walked away. He had coffee with his wife. He watched his levels. And then when he went back, he went into sim because he wanted to learn. So it's okay to go back into sim. You locked in your profits and then you go. That discipline alone of stopping when you locked in your profits is key. That discipline, that one little discipline to stop when you hit your profit target for the day. You'll feel better at the end of the week making $500 than he will losing $2,500 like he was doing.
Oh, yes, for sure.
Much better, much better. Okay, then he says on the pullbacks, he tended to get hooked. So when he had a pullback in the trade, that's when his emotions really started to kick in. And he found that when after we had done coaching, we got rid of his block, he was much more controlled. And every time he felt like he was getting emotional from the past, he did something that he felt was excellent, and it was okay to miss out on the trade. So if he saw a trade that was in there and it worked, and he didn't go into the mindset of, oh, I missed that one, and got stuck in that mindset. Oh, I missed it. I missed it. I missed it. There's another trader around the corner. I guarantee it. I guarantee it.
Oh, yes.
You just want it to be a winning one. So he found, though, that when he had the small pullbacks, that's when he had that thinking. So we had to do some shifting on that thinking. So the fear of missing out had him jumping in too quickly. And he just kept saying to himself, there's another one coming up. There's another one coming up. And in doing that, he was doing the moving forward thinking. What can you do in the moment to move forward, not backwards? He can't change the trade he missed. He can't get back money he missed. You can't either. You have to focus on what's coming up in the market, reading what's happening, and figuring out what you have to do next. So moving forward, pulling your mind forward. Don't let your mind get trapped into moving backwards. Okay, and then he did, see if I got everything.
Folks, if you do have questions, a lot of this is probably, pulling some questions out. Make sure you put them in the chat. We're gonna have Robin, go through those questions at the end. So make sure you put them in the chat. We'll collect them again.
Okay.
Robin, go ahead.
So he had again, we had these, few things that we changed. He did the trading game. I've talked about that before. He took the P&L off. That's a very positive thing. He had his mindset, and he broke the pattern when he was getting his mind pulled into a trade when he shouldn't. He set a goal for the day that he knew he could make. Don't set a goal. Don't set $1,000 goal when you can't make $1,000 in the day, because you'll start to push. Set a goal you know you can make, and then stop. That discipline right there to stop is the discipline. What is the discipline everybody needs? Why do you think discipline is the biggest word in every trading book you read? Because it's the hardest thing to do. It's the hardest thing to do. So you have to practice it to get it. I mean, you just had this wonderful guy on that's a skier. he's not going to go out there on a ski slope that he doesn't know and are not familiar with, or he's not going to do a race on a slope he's never skied on. He's going to practice on it. He's going to figure out where the moguls are. He's going to figure out where the turns are, what his body has to do. It's the same thing for a trader. When we're in there, we have a mindset that we have to control as we're in the trade, looking for the winning trade of the first trade of the day. I'd like to make sure we leave everybody with that. Make your first trade of the day a winning trade, a winning trade. You'll feel better for the rest of the day. And if you don't, examine the loss. What did you do? Don't go on to the next trade just to get back the money. Look at examine it. Most traders don't track what they did. There's something you did incorrectly. Either you got into the wrong place. Make sure you're doing stops, please, right now. With Trump doing all these announcements and things that are going on, the market has these big swings in a direction. You got the fight with Powell. You've got the potential of different wars around the world. Don't not have a stop. I can't believe I'm reading questionnaires of people don't
Yeah.
have stops. I mean, that's crazy. I've
Yeah, you
never
have to.
seen a successful trader without a stop, a hard stop. Never, never. They're smart enough. You can have a whip in the market. I remember the first time I went through it. Thank God I was in the right direction, and I ended up making a lot of money. But it scared the heck out of me when it
Yeah.
happened. It
Oh,
went
yeah.
so far. Thank God I was in the right direction. I would have blown my whole account. So don't not have a stop. Find out from somebody how you do a bracket trade, where you make the entry, you have your profit target set and your stop loss set. You can move it after you make the entry. You can move those and adjust them as if you
Mm.
need to, but use a stop. Do you use a hard stop?
Every time.
Yeah, every time.
Every time.
Every time.
Every time. And
You,
even
you
if,
can't
if I have a
you
bracket
can't not.
on and the bracket
Yeah,
is, the stop is further than my point of invalidation, I'll move my stop closer.
yeah,
But you got to have that stop. You
yeah.
hear that,
Um,
folks? This is 30 years of experience working with traders and a lot of really great traders, and all of them have had stops.
all
Always
of them.
put on a stop.
And the higher you go in the business, the more you want it because you have the more to risk, more at risk. And I know that you all are putting your trades on based on your risk reward. So you want to have that on to have your risk reward right. Okay. Any questions? That was our trader case study, and I know a lot of you are trying to do. You're working and you're trying to trade two at the same time. He allocated a couple hours a day. He isolated it. His wife was pregnant. He's got a child. So if you have personal things going on in your house, you've got to manage that because it's important. I had a guy in Hawaii, and his wife was a realtor. She did something in real estate, title searches, and he says, do you think it's a problem? My wife keeps coming in asking me how I'm doing. I said, no, 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 no. Tell her to stop. Lock the door. Do not let her in. Tell her if she has an emergency that she can slip a note under the door and let you know if something is wrong. Do a little tap, tap, tap. Put the note under the door. Do not have her ask you during the day how you're doing. That's the worst thing that could happen. That's a whole other topic of telling your spouse about your trading day. One of my rules is never talk to anybody about trading who doesn't trade. That's one of my
uh,
rules. One of my
yeah,
rules.
a lot of folks don't understand it, don't get it. They just think it's
Oh,
gambling or whatever it is, and nothing could be further from the truth. So, you mentioned one of your traders was only working a couple hours a day because he had other things to do. Um, and I find that people that have kind of limited time to trade are really trying to force a lot into that limited time to trade, that 2 hours. So I only got 2 hours to trade. So I gotta find something. I gotta find something here, and I think that creates probably some pretty uncomfortable situations when you're, kind of demanding something within a time frame of a market, and you're not getting it. I tell people you have to wait for your setup. It doesn't matter if it doesn't come in your 2 hour window, then you don't do anything, because
Mhm.
that's really kind of being a trader. So Robin, we got some questions here. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
All right.
Shotgun.
Rapid fire questions. All right. So Tushar is asking, how do I learn to take a small loss now to avoid a larger loss later? Because I'm dollar cost averaging my losers. Is there a smart way to dollar cost average to avoid taking too many losses? Tushar, I don't know what Robin says about it, but there's a thin line between adding to a loser and accumulating an inventory in a zone. If you're dollar cost averaging just because you're losing money on the trade and you want to lower your average entry price, that's usually a bad sign. Robin, what do you think of this question?
Yep, I have another rule: never double down on a losing trade, especially if you're new and you're in the beginning. You can adjust that later on in your career, but you have to have consistency, stability, and certainty before you do that. In the beginning, don't do it. You'll save more money in the long run. That's my advice to especially new people that, and when I say new, I'm talking 1 to 6 years. That's new to me. Beyond
Mm-hmm.
that, you're like in the intermediate stage. But even though in that stage, I tell people don't double down on a losing trade. You'll just lose faster. It's not
Yeah,
worth
we
it.
in the pit we called those, well, moron trades. Trade goes against you, you just put more on. Uh,
Yeah, you don't want to
Tushar,
do that. You don't want
I
to do
hope that helps you. Hope that helps you, Tushar. All right, T-Bone. My biggest issue is exiting a trade when it is in profit and it starts to turn. My mind tells me this is coming all the way back, but I fail to react. Any good tips on overcoming this? So that's the pullback issue that one of your traders you just mentioned was talking about. What do you say to
it. Yeah.
T-Bone?
Okay. So when a trade, you're going to have pullbacks in a particular bar. It's going to depend on the time frame that you're using. If you hit your goal, take your profit. Take your profit. What's the worst thing that happens? You get in again and you get in at a price and you've locked in cash. I mean, lock it in. I call lock it in, lock it in, lock it in. So a good way to, if it does a pullback, that tells me that that trader might not be reading the market properly, or his indicators are not allowing him to have those little pullbacks and be calm through them, because you're going to have them. You're going to have those pullbacks. You just don't want to have big ones. And if you screw up and it pulls back too much, lock in any kind of profit. Don't let it go negative. Don't let a winning trade go negative. That's another rule I have. Don't let a winning trade go negative. Lock in. I don't care if it's 12.50. Don't let it go negative on you. You'll feel better that you close the trade. You can always get in. You can always
Yeah.
get back in.
Well, you say a lot of those pullbacks are just the market breathing,
Right.
just the market taking a
So
breath.
when you have a trend going on, you'll go down, 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 down. On the picture, it's different. Down, 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 and you have a breath. Ah, and the breath comes from, if everybody's selling, 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 the breath is the people buying and locking in their profits. And then it goes down again, and then they have another breath. Now, is that going to happen all the time? No. But the market tends to breathe in a trend direction, up or down. So buying, 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 sell off a little bit. Buying,
Little
buying,
pullback.
buying, sell off a little bit.
Little
So
pullback.
you've got to know your market and how it works. And you can tell the difference between a breath and a reversal. If you don't know that, that means you don't know how to read the market. So reading the market and reading the bars that you're working on, the time frame is very important. The higher the time frame, the less the emotion. The smaller the time frame, the greater the emotion. And sometimes the smaller time frames can give you what I call tidbits, the things that are happening in the moment, what traders are doing in the moment based on what they're buying and selling. So I have a tendency to, I call it my 100 trade guys. Every 100 trades, it gives me a bar. And I see what they're doing in the moment, even though I trade off the 5. I see what they're doing in the moment. And if my 100 trade guys, if I'm going short and I start seeing my 100 trade guys doing some buying, then I go, I got to see if I'm going to see where they stop buying and they switch back to selling. And so when they switch back to selling, then I hold on to the trade. If they don't, then I watch my chart, my 5-minute. If it's taking out highs, I'm out of there, because you got to read whatever chart that you're trading from. The detail just gives you in the moment what's going on.
Do you find sometimes that looking at that fine a detail might give you some false signals?
Of course. I mean, if you're not used to it, a lot of people can't trade the way I trade, because I watch all the detail. I watch time and sales, and I watch in the dome the order flow in the inside market. And I have my time and sales set. If they buy or sell outside the inside market, that's an indication they really, really want it. So I'm watching that like a hawk. And that detail alone allows me to decide, is it a rotation in the market, or are they continuing? Are they eating up all those orders on the bid or the ask? And I watch that detail. A lot of people cannot deal with that. It's very intense. It's crazy. I mention it to people, but I don't teach that, because it takes you years to get the feel for that. I can't live without it. I learned that way. I learned on time and sales. I never had charts. So I can't live without time and sales. That's my security blanket.
Okay. All right. So we've dealt with traders that, are having difficult times on pullbacks. Okay. They're long, the market's going their way. They get a little pullback. They get a little bit freaked out. What about the other side of that coin? They're long, they get to their profit target, and the market goes another 100 points their direction. What do you say to somebody who kind of looks back at that and says, I was long, and look what I left on the table? They had a profit target. They reached it.
Get back in. You see a little pullback, just say, I locked in my profit. Do I have more? Where are we going? What's the market telling me? We're in these new all-time highs. You've got to do these extended fibs, because you don't have any kind of data to hold on to going up when there's nothing there. We haven't been in this place for years, for years and years and years. So you've got to do an extended fib or something, and it's kind of a guesstimation. It's not solid, because there's nothing there to hold on to. But you can't sit there and look at it setting up again and not get in again. Get in.
Right.
Get in. Lock in the cash and get in.
I mean, it's a successful trade. It did what you wanted. You didn't know what was going to happen after that. You shouldn't feel a loss for missing a part of it, even if you do get in and get the continuation. You're in. You're good. You're good. All right. Thank you.
That's thinking backwards.
Yeah.
That, with what you just said, is thinking backwards. That's the problem. You've got to think forward. Where's the opportunity? What could I get next? What do I see? I'll wait for a small pullback, and then I'll get in again. If it doesn't work, I'll get out at this level. I won't give back my money. Lock it in. I put sometimes 4 contracts out, and I put them at each level, and I call it lock and load. And so when it hits the bottom one and it takes it out and locks in the profit, I load it up again, and it goes to the top of that list. When the next one gets hit and I lock in cash, I put in another one. I just have my cursor on the buy, and I call it lock and load. So lock it in, load it up. Lock it in, load it up. What's the worst thing that happens? I have my cursor on the close button, and I close all my trades. The
Hmm.
other thing I do is also a leapfrog. I call it a leapfrog, where I take the bottom order of the four. If I see it starting to run towards my number and going in my direction, I leapfrog it up to the top. I leapfrog it up to the top. I move them up that way. I'll wait till they all hit. I have a place where I know I'm going to get out, and I let them hit one by one.
Huh.
And
Okay.
I call that one a leapfrog. So I leapfrog or I lock and load. Lock in the cash, guys. Lock in the cash when it's there. Don't don't you don't have to wait for 10 points on some of these moves. You can have several trades on the way to the 10 points. On the way up, you will feel better locking in cash at the end of that run than you will holding on to it, letting it work against you, going into fear, closing it and not getting in again and letting it go to where it really wanted to go to. You'll feel worse.
All right. Next question. Rebel
Okay.
trades. How do you know when you're in the right mindset to size up in your trading?
How do you know if you're in the right? Are you winning? That's the first question. Would be, are you winning at your
Uh-huh.
trades? You can do a game. Again, you're the trader. You can make any rules you want. Create a game for yourself that works. If you start with one contract, if it's a mini and that works, then and it works several times, say, okay, I have to have 5 trades. And after I have 5 trades at one contract, I'll add 2. On the next trade, take the 2. Oh, this is a good point, actually. I'll do 2. And then on the next trade, don't do 2, go back to 1. If you're winning, 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 you go to 2, and you win. Even if you win, go back to 1. I call this technique putting your toe in the water. The stress of increasing size is an emotional stress that people get when they increase size. So to avoid the stress, go in, come back out, put your toe in the water. If the water's too cold, get out of there. Don't go back to 1. Give yourself, again, 5 trades at 1, go to 2, try it, and then go back. Anything you can do. Don't lock your, because you switch to 2 or 3 or 4, you don't have to do that every time because you set it in your computer. You can go back. So do it and come back out. Toe in the water. Just test it out. You like that one?
So, yeah,
Toe
I
in the
do.
water.
I do. And you're right. I mean, adding risk to your trading plan, to any of your strategies, it takes getting used to. I like the idea of sticking your toe in the water from time to time to kind of build that muscle to be able to deal with the added risk of that trade. But one
You
thing that I
will.
always tell people is when you're thinking about sizing up, don't go from 1 to 5. The biggest jump
No.
you should take in risk is going from 1 to 2 contracts. It doubles your risk. You get comfortable with that, go from 2 to 3. That only adds a third again as
Exactly.
much risk. When you
That's a
get
great
comfortable with
point.
that, then add another one, and that's another quarter again as much of the risk. So it is something that takes time, and it's something that requires you build that muscle, even if it's just intestinal fortitude to be trading
Yeah.
bigger.
But don't
Right.
increase size to get back your money. Increase size because you're winning and you're ready. Know yourself. Know yourself. All the lessons that I've been doing all these months have been to learn who you are as a trader. Everybody in the room there, everybody that's listening, every one of you are different. You're all different. You have to figure out who you are, what you can deal with, where you get your emotions to kick in, how to control them, and you're the one that has to define it. I can give suggestions along the way, and that's what I do during the coaching to work with you. I don't try to teach people how I do it. I look at them emotionally, see what they're dealing with. That's why I take so much time with the forms, even though the questions are the same. I look at it every time, and it's a different read on the person because I have set that up in a particular way so that each question leads me to the next situation of the trader in their head. And I can tell how it's developing as they go down through the questionnaire. That's why I can't do a blank one and just hand it out to everybody, because everybody's different. So
Mhm.
everybody's got different challenges. Figure out who you are. The market is what it is. You can't change the market. You can read the market. You can have an idea of where the market's going, but it's not 100%, or we would all be trading it that way.
Awesome.
Next.
Just kind of looking at the markets here. We got the ES just put in a new session low. Nasdaq not quite yet, but gold has flatlined. We're getting a little bit of a move higher in crude oil after looking below that initial balance low. But there's just a quick look at what's going on in the markets right now. Next question is from Shubham. Shubham, how can I use journaling in a structured way to break out of the performance impulse loop, where I know what works and what not, but I still keep repeating the same mistakes? I'm very interested in Robin in hearing what you have to say about how to journal. There's lots of different ways to journal, lots of different things to be thinking about and writing about. But what would you say to Shubham about journaling? Maybe the best way to journal might be a good way to kind of work on his performance slash impulse loop.
Well, I attempted that journaling group. It was too time consuming for me, so I had to disband that. But I tend to look at the quality of the trade, not necessarily the numbers. And so I suggest that you look at a losing trade. What did you do? Look at the entry, look at the management, look at the exit. Where did you make the errors? If you even just track that every single time, do you have to work on your exits? Do you keep getting stopped out? Do you keep moving to a profit target as you trade and it keeps hitting your stop that way? So are you repeating the same error? And if you're repeating the same error, what do you need to change? And then incorporate that. Um, Tracking just the number, I don't think helps anybody. I made $100 today, $50 I lost there. What does it tell you? You get a number at the end of the week. What does that tell you? You've got to look at the quality of your trade and where you're making the error, and then look at where people are successfully managing that part of the trade. You got three parts: entry, management, exit. So look at what part of the three that you're having your challenge and focus on it and make some try things. Try things in sim. You don't have to try things live. Try it in micros and in sim, and then see if it works. Once you get something to work, incorporate it.
Robin, would you suggest for somebody who's journaling that kind of stuff, the quality of the trade, to add a little bit of emotional information as well, like how they're feeling at entry,
Sure.
during the management, and at
Absolutely.
exit, maybe even afterwards? I think there's a lot to glean from that. I mean,
I think in the moment, just as the trader that I talked about, he was telling me exactly what was happening mentally in the moment. I think that's
mhm,
excellent to do. I think that's
mhm,
a great point. So mentally, what was happening in the moment was it you have two parts of the you got the three parts to look at: entry, management, and exit. But you have an emotional part and a technical part. So was the error emotional, or was it technical, or was it a combination of the two? Because that will form it. When the case study talked about hesitation, apprehensive, he started to go into that he was having a lot of self doubt about himself when he was doing the losing. He was beating himself up. He was
mhm,
not in
mhm.
control, and so every loser was a snowball effect for him. And so that was affecting him emotionally. That affected the next trade. So, yes, I think adding the emotional part for that Hogue is absolutely perfect, and
Right.
documenting it if you can.
Yeah. And review it. Refeel
And
those
then call me
trades at the
for
end of the
coaching
day.
if you can't get over it.
You might find something that you're going to be able to use in that.
Exactly.
Monica asks, do you have any suggestions for someone who has a tough time shorting the market, specifically the ES?
Oh my God, I love shorting. I'm the short crazy
We all do. The
person.
money comes faster.
I mean, the market's so high now. I'm waiting for the. I mean, today was I didn't get a chance to trade because I was working on this, and I wanted to be sure we were in a good place. So I didn't trade this morning. And when I saw the move, when they had the charts up before I came on, I was like, oh, I missed that down move. That was my favorite. This is ready to turn. This is, we're at the place. It can't go any higher. But it does. So can't go any higher. Can't go any higher. There's going to be a rotation somewhere. Something's going to happen. An event. Why you must have your stops in, because when this thing rotates, it could be a real swift down move. It's fascinating to watch. I remember in the old days we had Bernanke, and it was that's how far back I go.
Bernanke,
Bernanke,
yep.
and everybody would go, what's his suitcase? What's he carrying in his suitcase? The Bernanke suitcase of the day. That was in the 80s. These
He was
guys,
carrying crackers.
he was that's what he was doing.
Crackers. That's all that was
So,
in there.
but everybody would watch it, and now with Powell and this, oil and water with Powell and Trump, who knows what's going to happen? Who knows what's going to happen? And Trump's making things happen every day. You never know. You never know. It's fascinating. It's a very exciting market. You guys are really lucky. We had Biden time where it was horrible. I could not trade during Biden for the life of me. And I consider myself a decent trader. I don't consider myself the best trader, but I'm certainly a decent trader. I could not read those markets during Biden. I just couldn't. I couldn't do it. Before he got in, I was making 1,000 a day. I could not make my money when he came into the market.
Strange.
I can't even. It was 4 years of pain, absolute
Strange how
pain
that
for
happens.
me. It was
Man.
really, it really is amazing. You guys are really, really fortunate. That's why you have to be in control, know who you are, and set your disciplines and work on them. Lock in your profits. Lock in your profits.
Oh.
There's another trade around the corner.
Monica, just so you know, my dad was at the Board of Trade for 40 years. I grew up walking around the trading floor of the Chicago Board of Trade. When I got my job on the trading floor, I didn't understand what being short meant. But Dad, how can I sell something that I don't own? And he looked at me like he had this look, and I knew what was going on in his head. It was, why, you asshole? You don't have to buy it first. As long as you sell it first and buy it later, you can make that profit. You sold it at 8, you bought it at 6, you just made $2. Makes sense? Yes.
Does Monica
Most of the
not understand? Wait, does Monica not understand shorting, or she just doesn't like it?
Monica, I think that most people don't understand shorting because 80% of the stock eating world is buy side only.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right?
I mean, you have to, for me, the reason I like it, the market falls faster than it goes up. So I love shorts because I call it a whoosh, because it'll whoosh through a bar, a whoosh, whoosh.
Yes.
I love those whooshes, so a way to get over that, Monica, would be take a piece of paper and write down what's great about shorting. And create as many lines as you can on the page. What's great about shorting? Ask people in the room. Money comes faster. You can get these whooshes. And it falls faster than it goes up. And when you get used, I usually have people say, I can't stop shorting. I can't go long. I usually have the reverse. I usually have traders come into me and say, I can't, I'm just a short addict. I can't seem to take a long. And so that's a little bit harder to turn around. But shorting, just what's great about shorting? What's great about it? And when you watch a few times and you try it a few times, try it with the micros and just try it a few times. Lock in the cash. Lock in the cash. Get to like it. Do the wins. Short, short, short. It's coming up now. It's
Yeah.
coming up. So you got to get ready for this, Monica.
Well, this might help Monica. It might help others too. There's two types of auctions. There's the English auction, where whatever is being sold is priced, and people compete and bring price higher and higher until the last person buys it. Then the sale happens. The Dutch auction is um, the whatever's being sold is priced too high, and the price is lowered and lowered and lowered and lowered and lowered and lowered until the first person buys it. Kind of like equities. Nobody's left to buy it, so that Dutch auction comes in and it falls fast and falls fast and falls fast until it finds those buyers. Then that Dutch auction is over. That might help just a little bit.
Or you could watch
You got
Trading Places. Watch the Eddie Murphy movie
yeah,
Trading Places. That'll show you shorts.
such a great scene.
That's a
Such
great movie. A great movie.
Now you have a couple of challenges and a bonus.
Yep.
I think we
Why don't we
may
do that?
have. Yeah, why don't we do that? I think we're in good
Okay.
shape here, and we might end this session on time today, Robin, which I'm not used to with you.
Okay. Well, but it's
You're like, all right, we're staying late.
action-packed session though. It's a good session. We didn't lose the connection. Yay. Okay.
Yay.
So I want to give you two challenges. I want you to think about anything or anyone that you have unfinished business with. Something that you have unfinished business. It's like a thorn in your hand and you haven't taken it out. Some unfinished business. I want you to take the challenge on to finish that business before our next session. And I'm going to ask people what it was that they completed. Is it a person you should have called? A person you should have apologized to? Something you should have done? Is there anything that you have unfinished business with that you need to finish? And take on that challenge and finish it.
It's like an AA thing, right? If there's somebody you've wronged, you've got to go. You have to go apologize to them. There's any unfinished business. Okay. Excellent.
Any unfinished business. Take the challenge on. Okay. And the next one is, what do you need to let go of for yourself in trading? What must you let go of that is hampering your trading right now? What must you let go of? And I know you can find that one. That's a good topic for next time too. What did you let go of for yourself as a trader? Let it go. Because if it doesn't serve you and it doesn't help your trading and it doesn't help you move forward, it's not worth it. Let it go. What do you need let go of? I see you thinking. I see the steam coming out of your ears.
Absolutely. I mean, this is fantastic. There's always things that we leave unfinished, right? There's unfinished business, and I think in everybody's life and in their business, and some people even in families, there's so much to this. I mean, if you really think about it, I could probably come up with quite a long list of unfinished business, and then things that I need to leave behind as well. I'm
you have to examine
older than most of these folks, so I may have a longer list, but I think this is a really cool exercise, and I hope everybody kind of checks it out and gives it a try. Because all those things are just they're like sandbags holding you down.
Is it worth it? Sometimes you give up many, many years. I give these pieces of advice, so to speak, or coaching because I've gone through them myself. There's nothing I give you guys that I haven't gone through myself and had really, really huge lessons with. My mother and I were like oil and water, but she ended up becoming my best friend. I ended up being her caregiver at the end. My brother and I hadn't talked for years. He was the perfect son. I was always the black sheep. And we finally made up a year ago. So, and all that time was wasted. When I saw him, I haven't seen him for about 15 years. I talked to him, but I hadn't seen him. When I saw him, I was in such shock at how old he had gotten. He's 6 years older than I am, and I was devastated. So I gave up all that time of not having my brother in my life. He's my only family right now, and I gave it up. I gave up all that time up. Don't waste the years that you have. They go by so fast, and you know, you'll say, why didn't I fix that? And it's usually something you can't even remember. That's what's even
Right.
worse. You can't
Right.
even remember. You just got into the pattern of being unhappy or disliking it, and fix it. It's not worth it. It's not worth
If
it.
it's not going to
Okay,
matter in
and
6 months, don't even worry about it.
exactly. My last thing is that I am doing a bonus special for anybody this week that decides they want to do coaching, and it's good through only till Friday, where you get a $200 off the normal 3-pack coaching session. And again, there are quite a few people that have done surveys. They have an extra bonus because it took me a while to get those questionnaires done. If I do something incorrectly in my coaching, I always make up for it. So I was delayed in getting those surveys back, so I gave them a little bit of an extra bonus. But if you're in the room now till Friday, and that's the 22nd, I believe. Yeah, 22nd. If you contact me by the 22nd, you can call me. In the meantime, ask me, what coaching's about, or ask me any questions. I'm happy to talk to you, and you qualify for that $200 bonus.
Okay,
If you have any
I
questions,
just
just
put the
email me
I
anyway.
just put the link in for your email and your phone number. You are brave. I got to tell you, you're putting your phone number on there. But that's quite a good deal, folks. Check it out. I put it in there a couple of times. Click the link, and take advantage
I want to
of
help
this.
you
This
guys.
is
I
very
want to
nice.
help you guys. I want to help you guys. I love trading. I love working with traders. I feel that I've been very successful in turning many around. There's quite a few you can ask in the room. They've done coaching already. You can ask them how it's been. I give always 110%. I give more than you expect, and it will serve you throughout your trading career, throughout your entire career.
Awesome. Well, Robin, again, thank you very much for joining us today. As always, it's a pleasure. You are the boss. Love it when you're here with us, and you always bring such good content and such good ideas and good thoughts and good mindset for us. So we'll look forward to your next trip here. And as always, blessings to you, folks. Stick around. We've got Power Hour coming out. Should be a fun one. Trade well,
I
everybody. And
love you
remember,
guys.
Top Step Trader. Thank you, Robin, again. And stick around. Let's go.